Most of the games that I cover on the Commodore 64 and Amiga have a version on the other system. And unless those particular versions are incredibly good and worthy of their own videos, I intend to do a monthly recap of games I have covered on one system and do a short showcase of the same game on the other system and put them into one video. This is going to be the first one, so let me know if you think it's a good or bad idea. Hello and welcome to a quick look at the Commodore 64 version of Chase HQ 2. This particular conversion was done by Probe, and of course the game was released by Ocean. Since this is an arcade conversion of a title original, the plotline behind this game won't be much different than it was on the Amiga version. Specifically, the mayor's daughter has been kidnapped and the Chase HQ team has been called in to try and rescue her. And they do that by chasing down a specific perpetrator in his car and stop him, hoping to find the girl, which they won't before the final stage of the game, but irrelevant. And of course you stop the perpetrator by either ramming into them or shooting them, because in this particular version you have access to a gun. Now, what makes this particular version distinctively different from the Amiga version is the way the gameplay flows. The Amiga version offered you a timer, and then once you caught up to the perpetrator you would get a set amount of time to stop the perpetrator. That is not the case in this particular version. You have a 1-minute timer, and when that runs out you have 3 continues you can use to carry on from where you ran out of time, hoping to stop the perpetrator within that given time frame. You are not given any extra time at all at any given point. On top of that, the 5 turbo boosts you have available to use, they are spread across all continues, so if you use all 5 in your first attempt and fail, then when you continue you are not getting any further turbo boost, so that is a bit of an oversight, you could argue. Graphically, I think the things look decent all around. It's not exactly arcade perfect in any way, shape or form, but all things considered, things are looking fairly decent. The speed of the racing feels better than the Amiga version, which isn't saying an awful lot, but you don't necessarily have a sense of racing at an incredible speed as you should have. The gameplay's foundation feels incredibly similar to the conversion of Travel Outrun, and if memory serves me, it was actually Probe doing that conversion as well, and it feels a bit like that engine has been reused for the racing part of this particular game. Sound effects wise, there is a distinct sound effect difference between the gun and firing a rocket, which of course was barely noticeable in the Amiga version, so in that regard I suppose this is better. The music, the title music and in-race music is perfectly decent, but I can't help but feel that it doesn't fit the game. It's not music I would associate with a high-speed police chase kind of thing, but more like a Sunday stroll down the highway road thing, whatever. And yeah, as I said, decent, but I just don't feel it fits the game at all. Overall though, if I was to do a comparison between the two versions, I would say they break even, because they both have their issues that makes them not particularly interesting to play, and unnecessarily challenging. In this particular version, if you get remotely near the sides of the roads, your car is going to spin out, which of course is going to slow it down. And on top of that, the perpetrators' vehicles that you are trying to stop are damage sponges like nobody's business. You ram them, you shoot them, you scream at them, you call them names, you do whatever you want. And you have to do that for extended periods of time before they remotely consider stopping. So, yeah. But let us move on to the next great game. I covered the Commodore 64 version of this particular title, Bionic Commando, which of course is another arcade conversion. This one was done by Software Creations, and the gameplay, or the background for the gameplay, is exactly the same as the Commodore 64 version, again, because it is taken from the arcade's plotline thing. Aliens has invaded Earth, mankind has been dominated, decimated, and all that kind of stuff. They developed the Bionic Commando to hope to fight back, and that's where you come in. You are in control of a Bionic Commando who has to navigate several different levels in order to do various things, of which I care very little, and that is because of the technical aspects of this game. So let's just go to those immediately and be done with it. Graphically, it looks a lot closer to the arcade original than the Commodore 64 version did, but then you push the joystick to move the Bionic Commando you are in control of, and bad things start happening. Just like in the Commodore 64 version, of course, you have the Bionic arm that you can use to hook onto various different objects in order to move, because you can't jump. The Bionic arm is your main movement ability. And because of incredibly clever programming, you can angle fire your Bionic arm 2 to 3 times before the screen scrolls far enough upwards that you can actually hook onto whatever it is you are trying to hook onto, meaning that the gameplay feel becomes incredibly sluggish and unresponsive, and completely irrelevant of how arcade accurate you may or may not manage to make your graphics, when the graphics themselves moves like a statue with broken legs. It's not good. Sound effects, none of those around. We don't need those kind of things. Those are for advanced developers. So we only have the music, which I have to admit, I mean, it is the Fallen Brothers that was responsible for it, and it is appropriately funky and of a high quality. But is it enough to carry a game that is incredibly uninteresting to play? Not really. I could mention the controls, but I'm not going to, because I mean they are the same as the Commodore 64, except for the fact that they are 10 times worse. Now I think it is worth mentioning that while the Amiga's hardware from a production level was 1985 hardware, it wasn't really before Commodore released the Amiga 500 in 1987, and therefore made the Amiga available to a much wider audience because of the much lower cost compared to the Amiga 1000. That games were developed and released for this system at a larger extent. This game being from 1988, you could argue that the programming team might not have had an awful lot of experience with the system, and therefore could excuse for the doubtful quality. But in all honesty, I don't care about those things. I'm a gamer, and I'm a consumer and a customer, and the price tag for this game was listed as £19.99. Remember, boys and girls, piracy is a crime, but charging 20 quid for an unmitigated disaster like this isn't. Thanks for watching, take care, see you next time. Bye bye for now.